cancer globally. Locally, some of the figures are staggering and frightening. Annually, Ghana will diagnose about 4,000 women with breast cancer every year, annually. Sadly, looking at our profile and data, we will lose about half of them. I'm not talking about people flying in space. I'm talking about women, mothers, aunties, sisters. So let's inform ourselves with the data. And today is the 1st of October, we tiptoe into the Breast Cancer Awareness Month, Ultimate Health on Joy 99.7 FM. And we've got a resident oncologist with the International Maritime Hospital, Dr. Usefrie. You're welcome.
Thank you.
At least you're wearing the right colors, huh?
Yes,
okay.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm wearing pink.
Yeah, okay. I looked at my closest to pink and it will take a bit of ironing, so excuse me. But breast cancer, the most prevalent cancer, especially in our parts of the world as well. Am I on point with the prevalence data that I presented?
Yes. So that data is data that was given as at March this year.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate, but it's because of the time the women in Ghana present.
Yeah.
That's how come you are getting that kind of mortality with the statistics. So they mostly come in advanced stages or late stage.
Okay.
So most of them tend to die from it.
Okay. By reading again, this same document, dated March this year, 2023, suggests that over 70% of our women present at advanced stages of the cancer. Yeah. Advanced stages, which is really, really, really frightening.
Yes. So usually, we'll talk about it, but first of all, when we talk about breast cancer, the whole idea of cancer is abnormal cells that are multiplying in the body and destroying the particular organ where they are found. So with breast, people think it's only women, but men also have breast.
Yes.
So breast cancer happens in men and women as well, but just that it's more common in the women.
Right.
Yeah. Unfortunately, in our part of the world, because of the fear of presenting to the hospital, there are a lot of myths around coming to the hospital. When you see anything with your breast, everybody thinks when you come to the hospital, the next thing they will tell you is they are going to cut the breast off.
Okay.
So most people sit at home, others resort to herbal medication, pastors, then they come in very late.
Okay.
So the reason for that kind of mortality we are getting in Ghana.
Okie. And one of the reasons why you'll end up asking me questions we've handled already is late comers who tune in late. Ultimate Health is live and direct. We're live on Facebook and YouTube, and shortly I will activate the phone lines as well. We've tiptoed 1st October. Yes, we are into the month of breast cancer awareness. You just heard speaking Dr. Anita Usefrie. She's an oncologist. Yes, she specializes in cancer and its treatment as well. Okay, she's from the International Maritime Hospital, a lovely hospital in Tema. You may know the place. Any questions, concerns, experiences, maybe even confessions and testimonies are welcome on WhatsApp 055 11 11 997. Shortly, we'll activate the phone line. So let's come back. These are high numbers.
Yes.
4,000 new diagnoses every year. And then when it comes to mortality, we are likely to lose about 2,000 plus of these women. Yeah. Right? Known to each and every one of us, depending on where it hits.
Yeah.
Very common. Is there a reason or is there any explanation why it's that prevalent or common?
Okay, so there are risk factors to breast cancer, and some of the risk factors, I always say, some are modifiable. You can do something about it.
Okay.
Some too, there's nothing you can do about it. Right. So you just we have something like the family history. Obviously, there's nothing you can do about it.
Okay.
Something like your age, you can't do anything about it.
Okay.
The time you are entering menopause, you can't do anything about it.
Okay.
And also the time you start your menarche. Menarche is your first menstruation.
All right. Can we slow down, Anita, and relate each of these? Okay. Family history. as a risk factor or variable?
Yeah. So with the family history, usually there are categories of the family history. We have people that have their first degree relative that have had breast cancer. So the first degree relative, that's like your parents, your siblings, or even
close relatives.
Yes, very close relatives. So when you have a first degree relative having breast cancer, you're at 50% risk already.
50% higher risk than somebody who doesn't have that family history.
Of getting it. 50% with a first degree relative. So we have second degree relatives as well. That's the aunties, the uncles. So that one, your risk is about 25%. Then you have third degree relatives. That's the great uncles, the great grandparents.
The further away, the less
the risk. Exactly.
The closer, the higher.
Yes.
So first degree brings you close as 50% higher than the average or the normal.
Yes. As compared to someone who doesn't have anybody with that risk in the family.
Okay. So first point, listeners, is that if you are aware of any family history already before we go into first, second, third degree, you are at a higher risk than the average.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Good. Then you mentioned age.
Yes.
Non-modifiable.
Yes.
Right.
So increasing age as a woman, you're at risk of breast cancer.
The older you get,
exactly,
the higher your risk.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Then I spoke about menopause. Yes.
Right.
So there are some women that get their menopause late. That is after 55 years.
So they remain in their reproductive phase for longer.
Exactly.
And the reproductive hormones and all those things are
the hormone involved here is estrogen.
Right.
So estrogen has a way of causing proliferation or increase in breast cells. So the longer your whole menstruation and the ovulatory cycle, that means you are going to be exposed to this hormone for a long time. And it also has an influence on the breast cells. So when your menopause gets later than more than 55 years, then you're at risk.
Some people don't want the menopause. Now you're explaining that, well, the longer you are in your reproductive phase with these hormones, particularly estrogen, active, then it increases your vulnerability.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Understood. Yeah. So menopause, and then the age at which you start
the menstruation, that's menarche.
Menarche.
Yes.
Right.
So the menarche, there are people that have their menstruation. I think lately it's common. A lot of young girls by 10 years, by 11 years, they are already menstruating. So the studies show that people menstruating, their first menstruation, that is less than 12 years at risk, because around that time, that means you're also going to be exposed to some number of years.
The estrogen and co are in business, and you started that business earlier than others.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So these are things you can't do anything about.
Nothing about
you
it.
You can't modify your family history, right? You can't change the time or the age at which your menopause sets in.
Yes.
And then you really had no real direct individual control over when you started.
Yeah. And also your age.
And your age. Yes. You can't play games with that.
Yes, you can't.
Only in your passport and football age and all of that. Okay.
That's true.
So these change your vulnerability and profile when it comes to breast cancer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. Any other risk factors that we should be talking about?
So we have those that you can modify. Those ones are mostly your lifestyle.
Lifestyle factors.
Yes, lifestyle factors. So that's where the obesity comes in.
All right.
Alcohol intake comes in.
Let's take them one.
All right.
Explain their linkage with breast cancer. Then we move to the next.
Yes.
So obesity.
Yeah. So with obesity, there's been studies that some of these fat cells, they are work done by some enzymes in the body, and they tend to increase the level of estrogen in your body. Right. So it's still the hormone estrogen that is in play in all this. Yes. Right. So obesity, the increased fat cells, the increased estrogen also puts you at risk.
Estrogen already listed on the list we're giving to the class teacher. Now estrogen finds another naughty class member or pupil in the sense of fat cells.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So when you're obese, you're likely to have these fat cells that collaborate with estrogen.
Yes.
And make your vulnerability more precarious.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Then with alcohol too, studies have shown that increase in intake of alcohol also increases your estrogen level as well.
Right.
So we advise women to check their alcohol intake as well.
I've seen some studies that suggest that alcohol can increase your vulnerability to breast cancer by up to as much as 50%.
Yes, is that serious?
Right.
So most of the times we advise women to try, if it's possible. Some you talk to them, it's difficult to stop. They'll tell you they take it occasionally. So even with the occasionally,
we're not talking about those who are dependent or addicted or in quotes are drunkards. We're saying alcohol use in and of itself heightens your risk.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so if you can, stay away from it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yes.
And if you have some of the earlier things we mentioned, family history, and you add alcohol, then you're starting a bonfire.
Yeah.
Okay, great stuff. Right. After alcohol?
Then we have those who have late parity.
Okay.
So parity is about the time you give birth, whether you've given birth or not.
Right.
So studies show that women that have their first children after 30 years at risk.
Okay.
Yes. And it's the same reason, the fact that there's been a lot of ovulation.
Childbearing, childbirth.
Yes.
If you have or start having children late, you are at a higher risk of breast cancer. Whoa.
As well as women who have never given birth, nulliparous women.
Okay.
Yes. So that means every year you are every month you are menstruating, and this is going to go on for a long time. So you enter into menopause. So all the time the breast cells are exposed to these hormones, and it increases your risk.
Okay. Folks, if you've just joined us, it's 19 minutes past the hour of 2 on Joy 99.7 FM. The program is Ultimate Health, your ultimate guide to healthy living with me, Norte by Nature. You've just heard the prosecution. Yes. The Council for the Prosecution Against Breast Cancer in the person of Dr. Anita Owusu-Afriyie. She's an oncologist, and she's presenting the case against breast cancer. And Charlie, the evidence is presented even before cross-examination. You can see there are things that we can see, profile, detail, describe, that will give you a sense of who's at risk and why. This is how science works. We know much more about this condition to be able to do much more.
Yeah.
So this is why we are focusing today, our first installment with regards to the Breast Cancer Awareness Month on Ultimate Health. We're looking at early detection, right? Signs and symptoms. Why this is so critical. Indeed, non-negotiable. 4,000 women this year, we're already in October, have been diagnosed with breast cancer. 70% will be diagnosed in advanced stages. We haven't even gotten to stages yet, right? Advanced stages where there's really pretty much not a lot we can do, right? Which accounts for us losing over 2,000 and more of these women. Serious stuff. Ultimate Health on Joy 99.7 FM. If you have any questions, concerns, WhatsApp 055 11 11 997. We're live on Facebook and YouTube, and shortly I will activate the phone lines. So if you have a case in defense, you may present your case. Court continues. All right. So, Doc. Nafenya, thanks. She says, good afternoon, Ninote. Welcome to my home. Charlie, this home that I've never been to. Always good things happening there. One of these days, we'll hook up, but not by the side of the road, right? Where nobody can see us. Good afternoon, Norte and Dr. Anita. Do canned foods make one vulnerable to cancer in general? Fred in Community 24 wants to know that, not specifically with emphasis on breast cancer, but he's saying canned foods, which is also very general.
Yeah.
Any comments, since you are an oncologist?
Some of them. So there are studies that show that some of the canned food has a lot of mercury in them.
Okay.
Yes, and most of the time, so we advise that you even check whatever you are taking in. And we have other cancers, commonly like prostate cancer, that has been associated with even increased intake of butter, red meat, and all that.
All right.
So yes, some of them.
All right.
Some of them.
Okay. I'm just thinking, is it the very fact that they've been canned, or the processes of canning and preservation that are the cause of concern? I mean, canned foods, many things are canned, right? Are we identifying something particular in that whole process of canning and packaging that may be the cancer-causing issue? Or are we just saying avoid because people take us very seriously on 99.7 FM. They're probably thinking, oops, canned Coke, canned meat, canned beef, sardine, and so what exactly is the link?
No, most of the time is what's the preservatives that has gone into them.
Right.
Yes. So I mostly advise people to check what you are taking. Just read on it, look at the preservatives that are there, because there are times that you even see that this is fresh. They write fresh juice, fresh this, but there's still some sugar in there.
Something has to keep it in a certain state.
Exactly. So you just look at the preservatives that has gone into.
All right, we'll go into that on another program. Okay, sticking with breast cancer awareness. Okay, so we were looking at some of these things, and we've talked about the non-modifiable factors. We're on the modifiable.
Yes. Yeah. So with the modifiable, we also have people who take in combined oral contraceptives.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
So there are some women, just birth control pill, they are trying to do this family planning thing. So they get on it for quite a long time.
Okay.
And it also has hormones in them.
Right.
So at the end of the day, you're also putting yourself.
You're getting your
risk.
birth control.
Yes.
You're checking or planning
yes,
to have children by choice and not by chance.
Yeah.
Okay. And we've done programs. We encourage people to do this. But you're saying these contraceptives also harness the effect of hormones.
Yes.
And therefore they could be related, or they are related.
The one that is actually linked with breast cancer is the combined oral contraceptives.
Okay.
Yes, the pills one.
The pills.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
when you say combined, my listeners love court. So they are more than prosecution. So when you say a combined oral contraceptive, what is in that combination?
Yes, so some of these contraceptives have synthetic progesterone, then synthetic estrogens. So they are modified. The natural ones are the ones we have in our body.
Okay.
So all these that we are taking, they are just modified by most of these pharmaceutical companies.
Okay.
Yes. So that's what I mean by combined.
Okie dokie. Yeah. 25 minutes past the hour of 2 on Joy 99.7 FM. As is every Sunday afternoon, the program is Ultimate Health, your ultimate guide to healthy living with me, Norte by Nature. I'm in the studio with the resident oncologist at the International Maritime Hospital in Tema, Dr. Anita Owusu-Afriyie. We're going through the first segment of our month of breast cancer awareness. We're looking at early detection. How do we pick this thing up? Right? And as part of understanding that and equipping ourselves, we are also considering, what are the risk factors? Why me? Why not this other person? Yeah. We're looking at some of those factors that you can modify, or your lifestyle, whether you're obese, whether you're using alcohol, whether you are on any of these contraceptives and so on and so forth. It's not a one-on thing. It doesn't mean that you're on contraceptives, therefore you get this. But we're looking at a whole spectrum of related risk variables. If you have any questions, concerns, WhatsApp is 055 11 11 997. Shortly, I'll activate the phone lines. Okay, so we've looked at these things. Yes. Any more modifiable?
So we have modifiable factors that are protective. Yes. So one of them is breastfeeding. Studies have shown that if you're able to breastfeed your child for more like a year and above, it protects you. It gives you some protection from breast cancer.
Modifiable because you can choose not to breastfeed.
Of course.
We are being told, educated, encouraged. We've done a series on exclusive breastfeeding 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Okay.
Right? When you choose not to, or for some reason you're unable to sustain it, you are losing the protection that breastfeeding gives you.
Yes.
So breastfeeding protects you.
Exactly.
from breast cancer.
Yes, but most of the times it's after a year. Like the significant reduction in the risk is those who have been able to breastfeed for a year and above.
Okay.
Yes.
Okie dokie. And please, men, don't call in or text asking me if you are the one handling the breast yourself, whether to give you protection or your wife protection and all those things. I know you love those questions, but I've got the prosecutor in the studio. She'll answer. Men will say, so if I'm also suckling, I'm the husband or the boyfriend, am I not helping to protect the woman?
No, we mean infant breastfeeding.
Because I can see some men setting up an NGO, right, just to protect women. All right. This one says, hi, Note. I'm tuned in and learning. This is Elinam in Adenta. Great stuff, Elinam. Tell a friend to tune in. Ultimate Health on Joy 99.7 FM. We're in the month of October. Yeah. God has brought us this far.
Yes.
We started the year long ago, but we're here, October, and it's the pink month. We're discussing breast cancer. Everywhere you turn, you hear it, but we're still sadly still losing too many women, despite all the awareness and the interventions, the treatment, the management. Okay, so that's why this is serious stuff. Shortly I will activate the phone lines. Okay, so understood. Right. Breastfeeding is protective, but it's still modifiable because somebody say,
you can choose not to.
I've got formula. What is this? I want my breast to be in some shape, some form. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. So me, Charlie, I never breastfed any of my kids, and I'm fine. But now, lawyer also free is telling you that it could change your profile. And your degree of vulnerability.
Yes.
Okay? Remember, we've mentioned a lot of things. None of these is working independently or in isolation. A doctor who sees you is taking all of these things into consideration. Okay? So no one polling station will determine the election. Right? So you've got to consider all of these things. If you have any questions, concerns, WhatsApp 055 11 11 997 is 2:30 on Joy 99.7 FM. Any other risk factors that we should talk about?
So these are the common ones. Yes, these are the common ones. Most of the times when patient presents, you take the history, you find out either one or two of these risk factors are in there.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. It goes without saying, and I guess we probably implied it by way of how we built up the discussion. But then it tells me that in our parts of the world, early detection is a game changer.
Yes.
Because I also read and confirm for me that the kinds of cancers we get in our part of the world are more aggressive.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
When I think of cancer, it's like some quiet thing that is happening, doing you bad but quietly. But when I hear added the adjective aggressive, then it becomes even more frightening.
Yes.
What does it mean when we say the kinds of cancers in our part of the world?
So most of the times, even with breast cancer, is actually highly recorded in the Caucasians.
Right.
That's the whites.
Okay.
But unfortunately, in the blacks, it's more aggressive, as you are saying. And most of the times, it's because there are other things that are involved.
Okay.
Yes. As we said, the time they are presenting, and also mostly when you come, we do a biopsy. The report comes, there are some things we look at. So there are some hormones we look at when we do a pathology test for you to diagnose you of a breast cancer. So we look at all that.
Okay.
And based on it, there are some of them, something like triple negative breast cancer. These are very aggressive type of breast cancer, and they have poor prognosis.
Right.
So all these are parts of the information. Like
prognosis means looking forward, they are likely to have a bad outcome.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
The ultimate or the highest degree of bad outcome, of course, is fatality, death.
Yes.
Right. So you look out for the kind of hormones.
Yes, exactly.
And based on what you see in that kind of examination and analysis, it influences treatment.
Yes, because we get to know your prognosis as well, and that influences the choice of treatments that you will have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So your treatment might be different from somebody else's treatment.
Exactly.
Because when we analyzed all these factors, yours is likely to move or grow at this rate compared to Auntie B, Nakoshi, or Erequa's own.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So your doctors, your oncologists are on top of all of these issues.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yes.
So they don't generalize.
No.
Wow.
So we look at a lot of things when you come. The stage. I spoke about the hormone receptors as well.
Right.
So the stage is where early detection plays a role.
Okay.
So mostly we advise people to go for screening or do the self-breast exam. It looks like there are people who don't know how to do it.
Okay.
So mostly I take advantage those who come to the hospital for a clinical breast exam to teach them.
Right.
So that you know your body.
Clinical is done by the clinician.
Exactly.
The clinician will examine your breast.
Yes.
The BSE is the breast self-examination, where you are examining your own breast.
Yes.
Okay. So when they come for clinical examination, you take the opportunity to teach them how to do the BSE, which is the breast self-examine.
Because there are people that, because they don't have the expertise, they tend to miss some lumps.
Okay.
Yes, they miss some lump. There are people who examine their breast and they don't even know you have to examine the armpit, the axilla.
Right.
Yes, it's all part of the breast exam. People just examine what is in front of them. And they leave the armpit. So, you know, when you come to the hospital, we do all that and we teach you how to do it.
Okay.
So that it's all part of the early detection. You get to detect it early. You see something funny, you feel something funny, you come to the hospital.
All right.
Yes.
How will I feel, detect, identify something funny? Does it come, in your line of work especially, do women know their breasts? If you say, well, this is a change or this is abnormal, this is different, it's a deviation from something we are assuming you know.
Yes.
Right. So how early can you say, at what age can you say you know your breast? They are growing, okay? And they are a very important part of your body, right? So, yeah, maybe you know your cup size, you know this type of bra is comfortable.
Yes.
But when you say know your breast, how early should a woman know her breast?
So most of the times, I always tell women by age 20, you should know how your breast is.
Okay.
By age 20.
Right.
Most people even say 25, but I prefer to go with 20.
20.
Yes.
You should know.
Yes, exactly. By age 20, you should even know how to even touch your breast, like try and examine it. By age 20, you should.
You should.
If you are below 20, most of the times they don't really do the breast exam well. So some of them will let their parents assist. Maybe they saw something. So I'll talk about some of the things you see.
You look out for.
Yes, exactly. So when you are there, you notice that your nipple is retracted. So the nipple is supposed to be pointed like this, inverted.
Right.
But it's not everybody that has that kind of nipple, though. There are some people that their nipple is inverted.
Okay.
But most people have inverted nipple. It's out there. So when you see that for some reason your nipple is just pulling in, exactly, it's of concern.
Okay.
If you see,
it should not be that way. It cannot be something that, in my family we have it. It's still a problem. It's once identified.
So in my family we have it. That is when growing up, that's how the nipple has been. As I said, there are people that have their nipples inverted.
Okay.
Is in.
Right.
So that's how growing up it has been. So if your nipple is actually in, then suddenly you see it even coming out, that's of concern.
That's also a change.
Exactly, because that's not how it is.
And this is serious business.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Okay.
So, and also if you see dimpling on the skin, so the dimpling, the commonest thing is the peel of an orange,
right,
which we call peau d'orange.
Right.
Yes, because of how it looks like. So you see these dots. Exactly, right. Exactly.
The skin should not be like that.
It shouldn't. So when you see that, you should,
nowhere on your breast should the skin be like that.
No.
Not even the areola around the nipple. It shouldn't be like that.
When you see the dimpling, the areola around, there are some changes that go on when women are menstruating.
Okay.
When women are pregnant. So most of the times, even for a clinical breast exam, if you want to report to the hospital, we advise that you come maybe 7 days after your menses.
Okay.
Because that time your breast is not lumpy and it's not tender and it's not all that swollen.
Okay.
Things, because of the hormones, things are now down. So you get to assess the breast properly.
Okay.
That is after your menses.
About a week after your menses.
Yes, about 7 days. That's the best, at least. Yes.
Your breast will change in form.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And how they feel.
Exactly.
During your menses.
Yes.
So if you were doing a BSc, or if even a doctor sought to do or conduct a clinical self-exam, they are wary of the time at which they're doing this exam in order to say they got a normal sense or feel of the breast. So you're advising my listeners, women, if you want to check your breast, do it after, preferably a week after,
preferably 7 days after your menses. That's fine.
Good stuff. Right, this was a good day, Ninote, and happy new month to you all. This topic you are discussing this afternoon is very disturbing, because some people, something hesitancy. So where did it come from? Okay, people want to know probably what causes it and so on and so forth. This is Sarah Manful in Winneba. Thanks, Sarah, for sharing that. This one also says, good afternoon. Kindly ask the doctor. Oops, what happened? Kindly ask the doctor for me if you have a burning sensation in your breast every month before your menses, what can be the cause? Before.
Yes.
Right. Every month.
So we have people that have cyclical breast pain.
Okay.
Yes, it comes with their menses. There are people, since the time they started menstruating, they've been having that pain.
Okay.
But if for any reason you realize that pain has changed in character, kindly report to the hospital. Exactly. Okay. If it's not feeling like how it usually feels, kindly report.
Okay.
Yes.
Great stuff. I know you're listening because this one says, Senior Note, it took us 5 years to arrive in October. 5 years. Can the lawyer presenting the case go over the canned food aspect? She mentioned mercury as a preservative. Is it only mercury that is used in preserving the canned foods that may be cancer causing, right? I make wild for here. This is Samson Kwame in Adidome. Why you make wild? Are you opening a can? But he wants some clarity and emphasis on what we said about in response to a question about canned foods, and cancer generally.
All right.
Right.
So most of the times for canned food, as I said, it's mostly the preservatives. It's the preservatives that go into like the risk factors, but it's not a concrete thing that is there.
It's not one-on-one.
Exactly. That
this will cause cancer. Okay.
Go for this, don't eat this. No.
Okay.
Because most of the cancers, you even see that they will talk about meat, they will talk about butter. Exactly. But butter always comes in a package. Some of the meats, as you mentioned, even corned beef and all that, that's red meat, come in a package. So it's sometimes like some of the things also in the canned food that will put you at risk. So I wouldn't say, okay, look out for this in the food, look out for this in the can. No. But I think you should just be careful whatever you are taking. If you are not sure of the content of the preservative, kindly just leave it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. This brings to mind a good old friend of mine, Kwame Van S. I think he's in retirement now with the Food and Drugs Authority years back. We used to do this whole foods thing where we look at the compromised can. Right, the can itself might be compromised. Either it's bloated, misshapen, and so on. It tells you something could be going on inside as well. We'll get to do some of those things. Let me activate the phone lines. It's about 41 minutes past the hour or 2 on Joy 99.7 FM. 030-221-6541. 030-221-6541. You can get to cross-examine the lawyer in the studio. Dr. Anita Owusu-Afriyie is a resident oncologist with the IMA Hospital, International Maritime Hospital in Tema, and we're talking about breast cancer awareness, early detection, signs and symptoms. You can ask your questions directly on the phone 030-221-6541. WhatsApp is 055-11-11-997.
Joy 99.7 FM.
Okie dokie. I'm a living example of breast cancer, and there's no good news about breast cancer. My wife had been diagnosed with breast cancer at the Tamale Teaching Hospital. I have been treating this since last year. To date, she's currently undergoing treatment at Sweden Ghana Medical Center. She has completed 8 cycles of chemo treatment and is now on radiotherapy treatment. This is Elias Hustler from Tamale, but I'm currently in Accra. So he's sharing his direct personal experience.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear your wife is receiving attention.
Yes.
And you kind of jump us into the treatment and management phases, but we're doing that over the whole month. And again, we wish you and your wife well. And thanks for sharing, Elias. Note, she did not answer my question. I said sometimes it is not hereditary, as she said. We didn't say it is automatically hereditary. We considered
Family history.
Even that one is not one-on-one. Okay? So where did it come from? Sarah, we're not saying... Look, there's cancer that has no known or identified cause. Doc, please speak to Sarah Manfo in Winneba.
Okay,
right? She
so
feels if it's not in your family, then everything... Right?
Oh, okay.
Yes, it is not, because we mentioned family history and hereditary factors.
Okay.
So if that is not there, where did it come from?
Okay, all right. So there are people that is not in their family, but they have some genetic mutation which they don't know.
They don't know.
Yes,
something has changed.
Exactly.
Right.
So we have some genetic mutation, commonly the BRCA1, the BRCA2. These are commonly associated with breast cancer, ovarian cancer. So I mean, Ghanaians, how many people even go for genetic testing to know whether I have a genetic mutation? People don't do that.
Yeah.
So you could be working with it. You have that mutation.
Right.
You don't know.
You may start the history for your family.
Yes. So you might be the one even coming to start it.
Right.
So not necessarily is it's being hereditary. No.
Angelina Jolie, the actress.
All right.
Right. She actually chose to have the mastectomy because in her family she had the BRCA1 and 2.
Yeah.
She said she won't wait for it to even happen.
So we have people who
take
do
my breasts away.
Yes, prophylactic mastectomy.
Right.
That's how we call it. They look at their family, the history is there, or some go for genetic testing, as I said, and they find out that they have this mutation, so they just take the breast off.
Before.
Yes.
Okie dokie. 44 minutes past the hour of 2 on Joy 99.7 FM. I almost said I'm enjoying this, but we're learning a lot. Let me put it that way before somebody thinks I'm enjoying this. I have a caller on the phone line. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, okay.
Right, hi, who am I talking to?
Yeah, I'm talking to Ekua.
Ekua, you're most welcome.
The same as Tina, I'm the same Tina. Yeah.
Ekua is Tina, okay.
Yeah.
All right, please share with us.
Okay, so, good afternoon, and good for this topic. God bless you. I think this topic shouldn't be coming only in October. It shouldn't be coming only in October. This topic should be at least once in a month to educate more people. How many people goes to Kolibu to go and check their breast? I started having lumps in my breast at the age of, I think, 19 years. I've had 3 surgeries already before I got to the age of 25 years. So I think it should be on monthly basis, and if possible, they can be going to the schools to educate the girls.
Right.
So I'll plead with them. I know it's going to be a tough job, but then they should come in because a lot of girls are going through this and it's not helping us.
Right.
Thank you.
Great stuff. And we do a lot. Sometimes you probably don't notice because we don't do it in concert with other platforms and programs and media and so on. So it does seem like, it's only October they talk. There's a lot that goes on. There's a lot of programs run at health facilities on a regular basis, right? Apart from October. But your point is well made. We should be hitting this very, very, very early. Like the question I asked, when should a woman, at what age should she say she knows her breast? Has it finished developing? Is it, now am I done?
Yes.
Do I know it? And so on. They sound like very mundane, dull topics, but they are very, very critical in this whole business of early identification, right? Phone line is 030-221-6541. WhatsApp is 055-11-11-997. Okay? We are doing our best to take our time, but also cover the ground. Okay, so we've understood some of these things.
Yes.
People are concerned if it's not hereditary, where did it come from? And this is why we've given this whole spectrum of different things that can increase your risk of getting breast cancer, including family history.
Yes.
Right? Okay. Yes. Is there anything we've left out, Doc?
So the symptoms, I spoke about the dimpling on the skin. There are people too that get nipple discharge. Most of the times it tends to be bloody.
Okay.
So if you see any nipple discharge or bloody nipple discharge, you should at least come to the hospital for examination or assessment.
Okay. You see the way I'm looking at you. Discharge from the nipple.
Yeah.
We're not talking milk here.
No.
Right. So some fluid
Yes.
from your nipple.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Any fluid from your nipple is a flag.
Yes.
That must be investigated.
Yes, not necessarily breast cancer, but
Okay.
it could be something on it. There are other benign changes that go on in the
Non-cancerous
breast.
changes.
Exactly.
Okay.
So anytime you see any discharge, aside a milky discharge, if you're a breastfeeding mother, just come. There are people that they are not breastfeeding, they get to see a milky discharge.
Okay.
We still advise that you come, because it could be that you're having high prolactin or something.
Okay.
Then we look at it for you.
All right.
Yeah.
You see, when me, yes, notoriously naughty by nature. When I challenge the prosecution from the defense angle, you see, so it's not just discharge, because I know you people. You say they said it on Ultimate Health.
No.
Discharge means you have cancer.
No.
We did not say
No.
that. Okay, we did not say that in this court. She said discharge. Let's check it. It shouldn't be there. And if we see it, have it investigated.
Yeah.
It can be a non-cancerous development. Non-cancerous, benign.
Yeah.
Here. And when it is cancer, then we say it's malignant.
Exactly.
Benign means it is not cancer.
Exactly.
Okay, but it could still be a problem of some sort.
Yeah.
So discharge from the nipple. Okay, let me just read this and come back to Doc in the prosecution. Good afternoon, Norte by nature. Put quite frankly, cutting the breast off completely will be a disaster for us men. All right. There's a counter motion, an injunction from the men. Note that all the wahala we are talking about, menopause, menarche, menstruation, we are part of it. We are the MEN. So in cases like this, can't some fats be pumped into the breasts? Ed in North Kaneshi is the life president of the Breast Preservation Society. He's saying that, Charlie, this whole removal, the mastectomy, we haven't gotten there yet.
No.
We are only starting today on signs and symptoms and early identification. He's saying, pump. We didn't say the breast was flat too.
No.
We said there's abnormal cancerous growth, changes taking place within the cells of the breast. Doc?
Exactly. And in fact, not everybody with breast cancer even has mastectomy.
Okay.
People get it wrong that so far as you have breast cancer, they are going to cut off your breast. No. There are people who have had breast cancers, they have their breast there. We just did a wide local excision. We just took the lump out, then they went through treatments. So it depends on the stage you report.
Ed in North Kaneshi, stand on your chair. Not everybody, it's not automatic that you lose your breast or your breasts. Okay, of course, we would pray and hope that we pick it up early, enough to prevent the, should I say, what you are most afraid of. But then when you suggest before this court that pumping fat, so you are looking at the shape, not the health of it, the shape is like going to a vulcanizer and so keep it up there, keep it firm for me or us the men.
Oh, but I mean, if at any point a woman has to have mastectomy, there's a discussion on reconstruction.
Yes.
So yes, exactly. So he shouldn't be worried.
Okay. Disaster for men. He's not even talking about the women who lose their breath.
He's talking about the men.
Disaster for men. Charlie, Ed is a vulcanizer. We've got about 10 minutes to go on Ultimate Health, Joy 99.7 FM. We're talking about breast cancer awareness or breast cancer. We're doing breast cancer awareness as part of this month of October, right? We do bits and pieces of it along the year, but it's good to have a concentration. It brings the attention we need, all right? And my guest in the studio, Dr. Anita Osuofrie, is from the International Maritime Hospital. She's a resident oncologist. Yes, she specializes in cancer detection and treatment. If you have any questions, you can call in and talk. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon, my brother. How are you?
I'm fine. Who's this?
Yeah, I think this is Elias. You just read my WhatsApp message a couple of minutes ago.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Well, I think, as I said, I'm a living example to this thing. And one thing I observed is a lot of education need to go into this thing because it is. I don't want to look stupid by saying that I don't know what cancer is. I only heard of cancer. I've never tried to take the pin to find out exactly what is cancer.
Okay.
But what happened to my wife? It's just we are just in a room. I saw she identified, some, what do you call it, a small lump in the breast. And we all said, no, it will go. Before I realized, I was I was advised to go to the hospital. I went to the TTA Tamale. It took them almost 6 months to run through a lot of an area of tests to be able to tell me exactly what that pathology my sister had just talked about. It is that thing that identifies and then diagnose exactly what is in the breast. And it was stage 3. It was, I don't even know. So a lot of people have the problem. So what I advise, a lot of education needs to go into this. My brother, this thing kills more than AIDS. It kills more than AIDS. I've gone through a hell. I've really gone, and there's no any good news, as I said, about this thing. So what I advise is, a lot of education, people are going through this thing. As I said, my wife, once she go through the treatment, the whole of her hair went off with the chemo. I've never seen it. I became so frustrated.
Ilyasu, my brother, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Right. You take your time. I can identify with what you're going through, right?
Yeah.
But relax, okay?
Okay.
Share a bit with us. How old is your wife?
She's about almost 40 years now.
Almost 40 years.
Yes, she'll be 40 years by next 2 months' time.
Right. By the time you had finished a range of diagnostic processes, you were told that she was around stage 3. Am I right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, and she's going through certain processes. Okay?
Yeah.
What I'll do, Ilyasu, is take your number. You say you are in Accra. Is she having the continuation of her treatment in Accra?
Yeah, she's having it at Sweden Ghana Medical Center.
Ghana, yes, you mentioned that. Okay, so that we'll be able to share. But your point is spot on. But you see, again, the point also is that we do it, but it flies over the top of heads of people. And I'm glad you are sharing this most courageously, right? Somebody will even tell me when I follow up later that, it's not my real name. I changed my name. But the essential thing is you're making it real and you're sharing your concerns. My producer, Abeku, will speak to you, and then we'll see how best we can assist you and your wife as well, okay?
All right.
Okay. Be strong, my brother. Thank you so much. Right. Okay, we can still take a couple. 030-221-6541. This one said, God bless you for the education, Norte. A lady friend of mine died painfully this year from breast cancer because she did not check. She said she was afraid it would be cut off, so she did not visit the hospital to have it checked. Right. Doc, are these things familiar in a frightening way?
Yes. So, in fact, most of the times, what the women, and the funny thing is, the people that even are scared of the mastectomy is not. Most of them are even educated women,
right?
Enlightened about this condition.
I was going to come to the profile.
Very educated women, but they will tell you no.
We do these programs in Accra. People will call us and say, "Take it to the villages," right? Look, if we went to corporate bodies now, you'll be amazed the kind of, in quotes, questions and in quotes, educated ignorance, right?
Yeah.
But people are aware and make time for so many other things.
Yes.
Right? So it is not the case that the women we are losing largely don't have the information.
They know.
Of course, there's miseducation, myths. We'll probably get into them next week. But yes, there's a lot of things countering the education.
Yes.
And even for us in our part of the world where we might say our health systems are not that strong, there's still a lot available to help people if we can detect this early. That's why we started with this early detection discussion. Okay, Doc, coming back. So, we've talked about breast self-examination. You've mentioned some of the things you should look out for. Is there anything that we've left out?
Yes, so I think commonly it's a lump. People will feel lump, yes. Either in the breast itself or in the axilla. That's the armpits.
All right.
Yes.
When we say lump, okay, I mean, we hear it all the time. Lump, right? What do we mean by a lump?
All right.
And what is significant and what is, should I say, negligible? Something that you shouldn't worry about.
Okay. So I wouldn't say if you feel a lump in the breast, you should neglect it, no. Because although a lump in the breast doesn't necessarily mean it's cancerous, sometimes it could be benign. We have the fibroadenoma, the fibroadenosis. I mean, sometimes you feel some lump, but it's benign. Exactly.
Okay.
But so far as you feel a lump in the breast, whether it is mobile, some of the lumps are mobile, like you feel them move. Exactly.
Right.
Others too, you don't really feel them moving. Some too, you realize that they are painful. Some are not painful.
Okay.
Some you touch it and it feels a little firm or hard and all that. But all the same, anytime you feel any lump in the breast or the armpits, kindly report to the hospital so that we take you through the process.
Right. Lassie in Accra. Lassie says BHE, breast husband examination. We, the men sucking the breast, may also help. Please, doc, teach the men how to do the clinical one that may have a higher frequency. Lassie, let me not say anything. But, doc, you see, this whole thing, we like joking with it, right? And Lassie, please, when we get to prostate and testicular cancer, I'm sure I'm praying that the women will say, we too, we want to examine. And we may have a role in clinically. Men don't like being examined though, whether by a clinician or by anybody.
For prostate examination, it's not pleasant, so I don't think the men will like it.
Digital rectal.
They might not like it.
Right, but we often get this, sidetrack where people talk about men examining the breasts of women, and they find that something they would want to get into.
But I've actually seen a patient that was a husband that detected the lump.
Exactly. Yeah. But the motivation is different. or he was joking and he found something.
Yeah, he was doing other things then. I mean, he felt something in there.
So when you are doing the other things, be vigilant.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Nobody said stop what you are doing, but be vigilant and then follow up on what you saw. Okay? Or doc?
I agree.
If you don't say it, they'll say overruled.
No, they have to follow up. Whatever you feel, whatever you see, follow up on it.
Okie dokie. Right? So we're coming to the roundup stages. We have a minute and a bit. This is from Dede in Maryland. I do a 3D mammogram yearly and then a scan because my breast is dense. This is from Dede, right? Yes, there are different types of breasts. I miss my brother. Afeke Dumo. Komla will say, Miss Lolo. And then we talk about these kinds of little things. Yeah, but yes, there are different types of breasts. Okay, and we'll get into the mammograms and all those other things. We've got lots of time for breasts this month. Okay, and we know why the focus is important. There's somebody else typing. Elias says, "This is not joking stuff. Please, this is."